The author, rahimahullah ta'ala, centered his chapter on Tawhid around the Asmā and Sifāt, the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the deniers of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were spread in their deviance during his time, like the Jahmiyyah. In a unique aspect of his approach is that he refrained from naming those that he was trying to respond to. He refrained from naming those who were pointed out for their mistakes and misconceptions in this chapter. Meaning, he didn't specify anyone by name except for what I mentioned in some of the narrations in the titles of Kitāb At-Tawhīd that were added by students, as I mentioned. When disruptions occurred within the ranks towards the end of the era of the Salaf, the ulama, rahimahumullah ta'ala, stepped up and they stepped forward to defend this deen. And they took different approaches. Some exposed the deviance by explaining the Sunnah. That's what Al-Bukhāri, rahimahullah ta'ala, did here. Others directly and explicitly refuted the innovations and innovators. And Al-Bukhāri did use this approach, but not in Sahīh Al-Bukhāri. He has other works where he did that. Some ulama combined between both approaches. In Kitāb At-Tawhīd, Al-Bukhāri chose not to mention names. But in other works of his, he did mention names. In this chapter, Kitāb At-Tawhīd, which we're studying, Al-Bukhāri, under various subtitles, which we said are called bab, in many of them, if not most of them, he mentions verses in addition to ahadith. He includes verses with the ahadith. And there's wisdom behind that. Among the wisdom behind that is to silence those who may claim it's a hadith ahad. Because they'll say it's a hadith ahad, and they'll assert that they don't accept hadith ahad in matters of Aqīdah. He also provides a verse to demonstrate that they're not only violating the ahadith, they're not only violating the Sunnah, but they're contradicting the Qur'an. And aside from responding to the Jahmiyyah, it also serves as a response to others. Because we said in some of the narrations of the book, some of the students said, وَغَيْرِهِمْ. They added وَغَيْرِهِمْ. Like who? The Mushabbihah, for example. Those who liken Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his creation. Or, for example, Al-Mu'attilah. Those who deny or distort the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who alter the text from their clear and apparent meanings, and others as well.